You thought the US election was over, right? Well, there's one more election that's really important because it will decide how much power Joe Biden has in the White House.
And could 17-year-olds give him that power?
All of a sudden, it's like, okay, so the entirety of the U.S. Congress is going to basically be decided by my vote. And it's the first election I get to vote in.
So how can 17-year-olds make a difference to the result?
More young people turned out in Georgia for November's presidential election than they did anywhere else in the USA. And it was key to flipping the state to the Democrats for the first time since 1992. There's now even more young voters, thousands of them who could have an impact on the important Senate race in Georgia.
I turned 18 on November 13th.
So Michael missed out on voting in the presidential election by 10 days, but now he gets to vote in January's special runoff election. Anyone turning 18 between November 4th and January 5th can vote in Georgia's Senate races.
That's around 23,000 new voters who couldn't vote in November.
The race between Republican David Perdue and Democrat Jon Ossoff is so tight that these new voters could make a difference to the results. Both parties need every vote they can get. And the ones who could make the biggest difference are those 17-year-olds.
People who are turning 18 like me in this little gap between the presidential election and the special election runoff.
But why is there another election?
The US has 50 states, and each state gets 2 senators to represent their interests, which makes 100 senators.
In Georgia, no candidate won 50% of the vote in November, triggering a fresh contest between those top 2 candidates, David Perdue and Jon Ossoff. But there's another race between Kelly Loeffler and Raphael Warnock, so both of the state Senate seats have Republicans in a runoff facing Democrats.
Democrats control the lower chamber, the House of Representatives, while the upper chamber, the Senate, is currently split. There are 50 Republicans and 48 Democrats.
For any bill to be passed in Congress, it has to go through both houses. If Congress is split, then odds are not a lot's going to really happen because there's a lot of dissenting opinions. It's very polarized.
So if Democrats gain both seats in Georgia in January, there would be a 50-50 tie. Vice President Kamala Harris would then get to cast any deciding vote. For the Republicans, winning 1 seat is enough for them to keep control of the Senate. But how will this affect President-elect Biden when he's in office?
He needs that majority because if it's 51 for the Republicans, then almost nothing is going to be passed there that Biden outwardly supports. If he doesn't win the Senate, then his presidency is gonna, I'm not gonna say fall flat, but for the first 2 years, there's not really gonna have much of all that's happening.
So now you can understand why the Senate race in Georgia is so important and how 17-year-olds could change the course of Joe Biden's presidency.
Subscribe to My World for more content like this.